The level of Osoyoos Lake continues to rise, and many people in the community are busy sandbagging. As of Thursday afternoon, the lake was approaching 916 feet above sea level. That's about 4 feet higher than it should be at this time of year, and it's the highest since 1972, when the lake rose above 917 feet. Many volunteers, individuals and businesses, were out at the boat trailer parking lot on the east side of town, filling sandbags. Santa Fletcher, who runs the In the Loop Facebook page, has been putting out the word for people to come and help. A lot more sandbags will need to be filled, she said.
Today is fabulous. We've got such a great turnout. Yesterday there was sadly only a couple of us all day. This is amazing. Companies have stepped up. We have tents, we have snacks, drinks, coffee. So many companies that have come down with their crew. We are so thankful, but we do need more muscle and more body.
The lake has risen to the point that it is threatening property. By Wednesday evening, it was climbing up the sandbags outside the Coast Hotel. The beach was submerged. The water now is higher than that. Parks along Osoyoos Lake are now submerged. I ate my lunch at that picnic table back on Tuesday. You can see how high the water has risen since then. Sandbags have been placed in many low-lying properties around the lake's edge. Solana Key and Harbor Key were seeing water rising quickly when these images were taken Wednesday evening. Around that time, town firefighters were bringing around evacuation alert notices to many of the homes in those areas. To the north of Osoyoos in the RDOS, there are many homes very close to the water. There's an area below Graveyard Hill where people can get sand. Harry and Marilyn Schroeder are working hard to keep the water out.
How bad is the situation for you?
Well, we've got the water is right about this far up on against the house.
Oh.
So, and it's leaking into the basement.
Oh, geez, that's, yeah.
So we're trying to keep the water from just pouring in like a tsunami, right? So.
You're very low-lying, aren't you?
Yeah, we're fairly low here. Yeah.
This is the consequences of having a place on the lake.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it's definitely something we had never anticipated ever having to deal with, you know. I don't know what we'll do once we get to the window there. Well, I guess we'll just keep covering it up.
So your basement is totally flooded now?
Well, no, I mean we've got a pump in there, so it's you know basically about this much water on the basement. So we've lifted up all the furniture and stuff. So
yeah.
We just hope everybody's aware of how it's affecting the individual residents. Right?
The town of Osoyoos and the RDOS declared states of local emergency Wednesday for Osoyoos and surrounding area.
Well, right now we are in the process of ensuring that all our paperwork is in order relative to the declaration of a local state of emergency so that we can go about and access the needed provincial resources and ensure that the coverage is there. It also provides the town with additional powers of entry in that to enable us to carry out needed technical services that there may be some disagreement with.
And you're obviously arranging to bring in sand and do things to actually deal with
yes, you know, that's been going on for you know quite a while. We continue to work with the EOC in Penticton to that's Emergency Operations Center to bring in sandbags. We've also brought in the Forestry Service to assist with the sandbagging as well. We'll be looking at a number of areas of town that are a priority so that we can provide that assistance.
The reason for the floods can be found in the mountains up the Okanagan Valley and in the Similkameen Valley next door. Snowpacks on May 1st were more than double what they normally are for this time of year, and there's a lot of high elevation snow that still hasn't melted. I'm Richard McGuire, and I'm standing at above 1,400 meters up the Ashnola Valley above the Similkameen River. And what you're seeing around me is snow.
It's about 18 degrees up here. Snow doesn't last too long at this temperature, but we can be thankful that it's not up in the 30s right now, causing everything to really melt quickly.
Much of the snow from the middle elevations, like you see here, has already melted. It's filling hundreds of tiny streams all over the mountains, and these get bigger, faster, and more aggressive as they tumble down the mountains. The Ashnola River empties into the Similkameen just above Karamios. It's one of several main tributaries for the Similkameen, and it's bursting with water from the mountains. Water from the Cascade Mountains and from tributaries like the Ashnola, the Tulameen, and the Pasayten have pushed the volume of the Similkameen to record levels for early May. The Similkameen itself is spilling its banks, and lots of forest debris is flowing down the river. So why would the Similkameen, which doesn't flow into Osoyoos Lake, affect the lake level? The answer lies south of Oroville, in Washington, where the Similkameen River joins the Okanagan after it's emptied from Osoyoos Lake. If you look at the confluence of the two rivers, you'll see the muddy brown of the Similkameen mix with the much clearer water of the Okanagan. Right now, the water from the Similkameen is not backing up into the Okanagan, which is a good thing. But the enormous volume in the Similkameen is forming a dam, holding back water in the Okanagan and making it harder for Osoyoos Lake to drain over the Zozel Dam. The dam, by the way, has had its gates wide open since March. And because Osoyoos Lake can only drain slowly, there is twice as much water coming in as getting out. And that's what's causing the lake to rise. To the north of Osoyoos, water is pushing down the Okanagan Channel at high volumes. Actually, authorities in Penticton have cut back on the flow of water leaving Okanagan Lake at the dam there, but there are dozens of overloaded tributaries in the Oliver area that are pouring into the Okanagan River. So there's much more water from the Okanagan entering Osoyoos Lake than is crossing the dam at the Penticton.
Well, right now there are some areas that are underwater, like Harbor Key, the portions of the Paradise Park that we are dealing with right now. Certainly, I think all areas along the lake are susceptible, and people have to be aware of that. You know, right now we're being told this is not the peak. So, you know, if there's a sense of security that, well, it's not going to get there, people should be preparing, because we don't know what the water levels are going to stop.
But, you know, there's always things that could be worse.
Yeah, and it brings neighbors together, which is great.
Yeah,
We're all trying to help each other and
it's definitely
keep on top of things. So,
so
what else can you do? There's blessings in sometimes in the calamities too.
Yeah.
And not all are adversely affected by the flood. These ducks at Solana Key didn't seem to mind one bit as they swam over lawns and pavement, eating treats the water brought them. As the weather warms up this weekend, we can expect to see more of that snow melt, bringing down more water, and nobody knows how high the lake will go.